battleground where warriors collide. Die Hard MMA podcast, we won't hide. Clint's gonna get deep, analyze each brawl from the underdogs to the champions standing tall. The fury, let your instincts rise. Feel the adrenaline rush, it's time to defy. Die Hard MMA, we're in it for the thrill. Get ready for the madness. Let's make that bankroll spill.
Happy Friday, degenerates. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Undefeated post-weigh-in show. UFC Baku, baby, bright and early first thing in the morning. We have got weigh-ins, we have got face-offs, and that means I can come to you a little bit earlier with our live stream here today. First and foremost, especially to my audio listeners, I want to apologize if the audio is a little bit janky today. If you guys watched the Total Takedown or if you guys watched Clint's Hot Props this week, you know, I'm out in the wilderness these days. I tried to get you guys a nice, sexy background going here, but I had to close the curtains here. It's too bright outside. It just basically blew everything out, and you'd be looking at, it would look like I was ascending from heaven. It doesn't do anything for the vibe there. You guys can't see the water that's out there, but regardless, I wanted to say sorry for the audio and video quality, but as always, I will bring you your show. Got to get you your content. It is Friday, and that means we've got fights to talk about. This is the Undefeated post-weigh-in show. We've already broken down everything we possibly can talk about on this card. Full breakdown with a guest, all the styles, all the technique, all the video and tape. That's on Monday. Click the live tab here on YouTube if you want to go and check that out. If you want to talk totals or props, we have not one but two shows that were a little bit shorter. They're like 10, 15 minutes long a piece. Check those out here on the channel as well. What today is we kind of take everything we've learned, we put it all together. I watched the weigh-ins, the face-offs. I'll let you know if anybody had a tough time on the scales. I'll let you know if anybody is winning the mental battle over their opponent, and we'll talk about it one final time with the chat to make sure we can make some good bets tomorrow. Good betting decisions. That's what we're all about here today. What's going on, everybody? We've already got about 100 of you live across all those platforms. Welcome in, CJ Funk, Daniel Flynn, never letting you down. Absolutely. Let me turn the chat scroller on here so you guys can have your moment in the bright sun. See everybody's messages pop up. Yeah. So Jonathan, the big guy. Let's be real. I mean, I try to bring you all the information that we can, right? We know the big guy is the most respected MMA bettor that Superbook has. He's been getting his ass kicked. Like it's been absolutely brutal for that guy. He's been awful in 2025. I can't talk. I've been just as bad. I can't speak. But anybody who's looking to the big guy for help these days, it's been a rough year for the guy, unfortunately. Well, I mean, Superbook's doing just fine with him losing his big bets, obviously. Oh, we've got Cade in the house. Breakfast burritos and elbows. You love to hear it, baby. Louis Mac Jr., what is up? Corner pressure. My guy, Danny Lags from the Club and Sub. What's up, bud? Happy to see you here. And yes, Rick the Ruler and everybody else in the chat, making sure we remind everybody, AM fights tomorrow. The weigh-ins were done like an hour ago already. It's UFC Baku. We're halfway around the world, so be sure to roll out of bed first thing in the morning and get yourself taken care of. Yeah, corner pressure, enjoying that 12 p.m. start time. There you go. Not sure where in the world you are. I got to tell you guys, West Coast, it's perfect. It's perfect. I get to go hang out with the wife and the kids. We go see the family. I whoop my father-in-law's ass in some dice, something like that. We jump in the pool, and then I get to watch fights in the evening. We have a couple of shots, and everyone's feeling good. It's perfect. But I know other places in the world, that PM time slot can be a bit of a bother, especially if the fights go long and you guys are up at 4 a.m. trying to stay awake to watch the main event or something like that. So you guys deserve a break. You guys deserve a break every now and again, especially like the UK fans. You people across the pond that never get to watch these kinds of fights on time. You guys that are staying blurry-eyed up until the wee hours of the morning every single week. You're the real diehards. Shout out to you guys. Let's freaking go. Dick's Insider, my friend. I mean, I would reprimand you for being late because I expect more from you, but happy that you are here. Appreciate you tuning in, buddy. All right, guys, let's get into it, okay? Let's go ahead and talk about this card. Unfortunately, they're shorting me a little bit here because it's UFC Baku. We don't have any photos or anything like that for you, so I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to try and get you a little bit of interactivity here anyway. Do me a favor, hit that like button, get subscribed if you haven't already, and let's get into it. First fight of the night, Hamdi Abdel Wahab takes on Muhammad Usman. Shout out MMA Junkie. They've got the recap of the weigh-ins and the face-offs uploaded to their YouTube channel. That's what I'll go ahead and use so we can at least give you guys some sort of image here as far as how these guys look. Hamdi on the scale today, he kind of lobster faced it. He was having a tough time. Looks like he had just popped out of the sauna or something like that. And you can't tell from this photo, but he's looking a little gyno-y. He's looking a bit Israel Adesanya. He's got some saggy titty going on, and we know Hamdi has already been reprimanded by the UFC and by USADA back when they existed, popping multiple times. And I don't think anything has changed between you and I. There's nobody listening to the show, obviously. So just, keep that between us. But I don't think Hamdi's clean coming into this fight here. Muhammad Usman, though, he looked absolutely jacked. That guy's got traps for days. I mean, I could do shoulder lifts for the rest of my life and still not get anywhere near the level of traps that Muhammad Usman is rocking out there. He looked absolutely fantastic. He did the face paint. I'm not sure what's up with the beret. He looks like he's French. It's a weird combo to me. One or the other. Usman, do the beret or you do the face paint. Don't do both. But he's got a slight size advantage, it looks like here, except that you can see from this side view just how thick Hamdi is. I mean, from the front, obviously, you showed somebody who doesn't know fighting 2 pictures. They're going to pick Usman every single time. But then you look at this photo right here, this shot, and you can see that Hamdi's about twice as wide as Usman is. Hamdi is going to push Usman around the cage and do whatever the hell he wants to him. I know that, we're not supposed to be getting into the technical part of the breakdown just yet, but seriously, guys, Usman was trying to, get into Hamdi's face and, mean mug him, and he's, the most popular dog this week. I am seeing all kinds of people putting their money on Muhammad Usman, and on one hand, I kind of get it. I know he's been relatively good to people. I know he's, won a lot of close fights and stuff like that, but I don't think he's got anything for Hamdi, you guys. He's not that good of a striker. He doesn't have that much power. And then when you're talking about a guy who wants to cage clinch, slow the pace down, and pin you up against the fence, Hamdi's going to beat him at that 10 out of 10 times. So Hezbollah, unfortunately, yeah, 2 out of 2 on the Usman face paint, but I think they're going 1-1 as far as getting their hand raised. I'm not buying. I'm absolutely not buying. I think Hamdi Abdel Wahab is the side here, and we've seen it not once, twice, guys. When the fight is close, they rob the other guy blind. He's the only fighter on the roster from Egypt. The UFC is business over everything these days. If this fight is close, I guarantee you Usman is not winning it. Usman has to dominate this fight. Usman has to land big power shots. Usman might even have to finish this fight. Otherwise, they are not giving him this decision. So getting Hamdi Abdel Wahab by decision at even money, I think, is probably the move. And Hamdi right now is minus 160, minus 162, something like that on DraftKings. I think that's the play, you guys. I think, throw up in my mouth just a little bit here, laying chalk on Hamdi, going to a robbery and then a potential robbery split decision in back-to-back UFC fights. But frankly, I think in his last fight, Jamal Pogues, while I don't think much of him, he's got a better jab than Usman does. He's way quicker, than Usman is. So like Hamdi might have to eat 1 or 2 big shots coming in or something like that to clinch, but I don't think he's going to have a problem with that. And then he doesn't have to worry about the speed, the footwork, the movement, nothing. Like, so I like Hamdi, you guys. I like Hamdi here, and I don't think anything has changed, except, again, I know a lot of really smart people that are betting on Usman. I'm not buying. Not for me. Not for me. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, I get it, Daniel. He said, I hear the robbery, but I have Usman on this. Good luck. Good luck. I haven't made the bet yet. But if I'm betting anything, I'm probably going to be on the Hamdi side, and I might actually get there. K-Deep saying maybe the Usman spread, and I would say maybe because it is a low-level, greasy type of heavyweight fight, but the plus 3.5 on Usman is minus 165. So the minus 165 kind of worries me there. I do think this fight is going to decision, but, I mean, can we completely count out the fact that Hamdi might just be able to body Usman to the ground? We could see Hamdi's first finish in the UFC this weekend. It's entirely possible. Usman hasn't fought anybody except the absolute dregs of the division, and that's something I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking here in this spot, because who has Usman really even beat in the UFC? We're taking way too long on this first fight. As always, the first fight where it's just the greasiest, most low-level fight of all time, that's the one we always choose to spend all of our time on, and usually it's women, right? Usually it's women's MMA. But let's see. Let's just look at this here real quick. Thomas Peterson. I mean, nobody was excited about Thomas. He lost to him. Mick Parkin. I love Mick Parkin, but he just got fraud checked. The guys he's beaten, though, Jake Collier, cut, wrong weight class. Dude was fighting at 185. Blew the fuck up. He's a balloon. That's the guy Usman is dragging to a decision. Junior Tafa. The Tafa bros are just the worst. They're absolutely awful, okay? And Junior had no experience in the UFC. That was his UFC debut, and gets beaten by a guy who can cage clinch a little bit. And then he got into the UFC winning tough by knocking out Zach Pauga. Zach Pauga dropped to 205 and then immediately got cut by the UFC. He's 7-4. I mean, like, the guy's getting knocked out in the regional scene right now. That's who Usman has beat. So, yeah, nobody. I mean, he's beaten nobody as far as I am concerned. I don't think Usman – look at those names. Does Usman even have a credible heavyweight win? If they ran back the Junior Tafa fight right this second, that would be by far his best win. And I would be sus of that fight. He doesn't have a single – real UFC heavyweight win. He is being brought in here to lose, you guys. I'm sorry. I don't have the tinfoil hat. I'm not at home. So I'm not all. We didn't buy tinfoil, unfortunately, here. We could have made some baked potatoes later. But no, I don't have my tinfoil hat. You're stuck with the bucket hat, which works great on the boat, by the way. But no, I definitely think that Usman is being brought in here to get his ass whipped by Hamdi. Why was he not on the card last week? Why was Usman not on the card last week with his brother? His brother just pulled a massive upset win, headlining a UFC card, 5-round main eventer. Why didn't they put both Usman bros on the same card? Huh? I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense if Hamdi wants to win. All right, guys. Let's keep it rolling. We spent way too much time on the absolute worst fight of the card, but, you know, as is tradition here on this show. Let's keep it moving. The next fight up, you've got Azat Maksum and Ulanbekov. 126 pounds for both guys here. Azat, I will say, his cheeks, he's got that sucked out face thing going on. He has recovered amazingly. You look at this photo here for the weigh-ins, and he looks fine. So he rehydrated very, very well. Same thing with Tagir Ulanbekov. He's definitely on the skinny side. You can see his ribs popping through his skin when he gets up there on the scales. But honestly, I wish it was worse. I was kind of telling you guys, I think Tagir has a hard time making this weight class, and the older he gets, the harder it's going to get for him. However, he didn't look bad today. I wish I could come to you today and I could tell you how awful he looked, and I feel that much better about Azat Maksum. But frankly, Tagir looked fine on the scales. This was a very, very friendly face-off. I mean, almost concerningly friendly. Yeah, Cade saying, what a meme of a photo. Like this is how they faced off. They did not face off. They never went, they went face to face, and they like high-fived and then turned and faced the cameras. There was no stare down. There was no mean mugging, no nothing. This is a very, very friendly face-off. You guys know this is my dog of the week. I moved in on Azat Maksum. I got plus 350. It seems like that's where the market has peaked out on the guy. I like him as an underdog here in this spot. I don't think Tagir is all he's cracked up to be, frankly. He's got that wicked choke series. He does have those front choke attacks. I know he's got a good record, but he's 33 years old, so he's getting old and he's getting slow for a weight class that does not respond kindly to people in that situation. And frankly, you guys, the matchmaking from the UFC just kind of has me looking at the fact that I think they're trying to get rid of him. I think they're trying to use him because they're not pushing this guy. They're not giving this guy steps up in competition. They're not giving this guy prospects that, I'm sorry, they are giving him prospects. They're not giving him gatekeepers that they're trying to move out of the UFC. What they've done with Tagir in his last couple of fights, they gave him Nate Maness, and that was frankly like the last time he got somebody that would have been considered like a, hey, let's move on from this guy. He got Cody Durden at the height of his powers, which, you know, I guess you could say in hindsight maybe could have been a little bit of softball matchmaking. But then they tried to throw this guy to Josh Van. They tried to throw this guy to Clayton Carpenter. They tried to throw this guy to Kyoji Horiguchi. So if the Van fight gets canceled, the Horiguchi fight gets canceled. They end up giving him Clayton Carpenter, and that was, frankly, it was a really good fight where Clayton showed something of himself in that fight, and now they're giving Azat Maksum. These are not guys that are like mid-tier, middle of the road, Nate Maness, Tim Elliott types. They're giving him young, up-and-coming contender guys, I think, that the UFC believes can get past him. So maybe that's all narrative work, but I'm buying, okay? I think Azat Maksum is somebody that the UFC wants to get behind here. He's 15-1. He looks like an absolute little monster. And in a different world, he won his UFC debut by round 1 TKO. Like, he rocked Charles Johnson so bad in the first round of that fight. He went for a choke, which I think was it was his second fight, not his UFC debut, a second UFC fight. So he's 1-1 in the UFC. But this is a region that the UFC is trying to get to, and he's got serious pop in his punches. He's a very good grappler. I like Azat Maksum here, you guys. I mean, he's plus 350 as an underdog, and I just don't see it. Tagir Ulanbekov, when he doesn't hit the chokes, has historically fought, you know, very closely with his opponents, and he does have a hard time when it comes to reloading. He's very slow on the feet. I mean, Matt's saying I don't think UFC gives a shit about Maksum. Maybe, but I mean, how many fighters do they have on the roster that are from Kazakhstan? It's pretty obvious to me that the Kazakhstan fighters are people that they kind of want to get behind right now. It seems like a market they're trying to get to. Shavkat was their guy, and now he's injured and he's on the shelf. I mean, I kind of disagree. Like, I think Kazakhstan is a area where they like to get into. Ryan asking if it goes the distance. I actually took a piece of Azat Maksum by knockout because we've seen Tagir lose the speed battle and we've seen him get tagged before. We've seen that be a problem. Azat's got serious power in his hands, but I also could see him playing this fight very, very safely. So yes, I took a shot on the KO, but that's because it was a ridiculous like 14-1, and I love that. You've got to watch out for the Tagir submission. You've got to watch out for the Tagir submission because Azat has been in mini chokes before. Most people don't get to them, but a guy like Tagir will finish those. So this is one of those really tough fights, you guys, where I think there is more than enough opportunity for it to finish, and I absolutely could see it going the distance. Yeah, Danny Lag saying goes the distance as a lock now. Yeah, mostly because of the way they're being all friendly at the face-offs, right? This could be a jab fest where they're just kind of kicking, picking, and poking and moving around the outside of the cage. And frankly, I think that's a great game plan for Azat Maksum. If he is jabbing and moving and using his speed and his quickness and never grappling with Tagir, I love my money line. I may not get the KO, but I love my money line if that's what he ends up doing. So I'm in for it, man. I'm not touching the total on this one, you guys. There's too much firepower. The under is possible. The under is absolutely possible. But if they fight with, you know, game planning and trying to get a dub, then the over is probably the nuts. So over 2.5 is minus 245. Under 2.5 is plus 185. I don't mind a shot at the under, again, because of the amount of firepower that's in this fight, but I can't say that I want a piece of it. Let's keep it moving. The next fight up is Irina Alekseeva taking on Claudia Sygula, 135.5 for both women. Irina, she's got the mop top hair thing going on. She was flexing all over. I mean, the amount of different like posing that she did, like she was really feeling herself on the scales today. She's feeling good. Claudia Sygula relaxed, no problem from her. And frankly, she's big. Look at this, you guys. Like Irina Alekseeva, her whole thing is physicality. She gets in there and she just like beats people up. She's just a monster. She's mean. She wants to throw you around the cage. And Claudia Sygula is bigger than she is. Now, I mean, taller than she is, right? I mean, obviously, there's a bit of a musculature difference here. Arina Alekseeva definitely is built thicker. She's built more like a fighter in this spot. And yeah, Danny, I couldn't agree more, man. He says it's under season here. I'm probably going to get involved in violence on this one because I think under makes a lot of sense here. We've got under 2.5, and I'm surprised it's still plus money. Plus 115 is what you can get on the under 2.5 for this fight. Arina Alekseeva has a nasty submission game. She's got unrelenting power for this women's weight class, and she never stops coming forward. She also does not move her head. So she's the type of fighter who will kill or be killed, and she'll force you into a gunfight every single time. If Claudia does not step up to that task, if she does not get in there, willing to bite down on the mouthpiece, taste her own blood, banging out with somebody with Arina Alekseeva, she's going to get broken. That's all it comes down to. Like, you really have to fight fire with fire in this kind of a situation, and I think someone's going to go down. My hunch on this one is Arina Alekseeva by submission. I think she ends up getting her down with some like judo toss or something like that. And then all those submission opportunities will be there once it gets on the mat. Plus 225 for Irina Alekseeva by sub. I think that's the way to go. She just always attacks when she gets in the positions where she's dominant, right? So the TKO will be there. It's always going to be an option that she could just pound her out. And she does have heavy, heavy hands. But I like the sub prop there in that one. Ryan, you got to hold your horses, buddy. We're going to go straight through the card. We're going to break everything down. We'll show you the weigh-ins and the face-offs. We'll talk about the main card and the main event when we get towards the end of this thing. Daniel says, don't get greedy. Play fight. Doesn't go the distance instead of the under 2.5. And frankly, Daniel, I think that's a great point. I think that's a great point for this kind of a fight because plus 115 on the under 2.5 when you've got a women's MMA fight and they're giving you what minus 110 on fight doesn't go the distance. Yeah, you're saving like 25 cents, and I don't think that's enough. I would rather have the 2.5 minutes. So I completely agree with my guy Daniel Flynn here on this one about playing the fight doesn't go the distance. And Ryan, no sweat, buddy. If no sweat. If you're not familiar with the show, we appreciate you being here, hanging out, talking fights. I didn't want to leave you hanging. I wanted to let you know we will get there, so don't apologize. Be here along with us for the ride because we got some fights to talk about. Bro, so I'm dad. What's going on? How you doing today? Yeah, corner pressure talking about the PFL fight. Kevin Lee about to get ragdolled. You guys, I wanted to bet Kevin Lee so bad. Like, I've been a Kevin Lee truther like forever, and I keep buying into this. Kevin Lee is healthy. Kevin Lee will come back. Kevin Lee still got it. Like, I want to buy it so badly. I really, really do. And it's one of those ones where, like, I know I'm deluding myself. Like, I'm just delusional if I think that that's true. I mean, he's the Anthony Smith at this point of the PFL. He's getting brought in against the guy that won the title last time. And I know there's like the levels thing, right? Like PFL versus UFC. So you'd think throwaway UFC guy might be able to hack it over in the PFL. But man, with his injury history and stuff like that, I don't think we can do that. I think it's a sub. I think that's the thing with Kevin Lee is he always ends up breaking and he looks for an exit and he'll like shoot for a bad takedown, leave his neck hanging out there. And I think it's like plus 400. We might have to take a piece of the sub and get plus 400 on that. And Dixon Sider, for the rest of the PFL, the only thing I'm really looking at for this one is Liz Carmouche. I don't know enough about the other people on this card. I'm trying to decide what I want to do because you guys know if you bet Liz Carmouche, you're just printing money basically her entire freaking career. The inside the distance is plus 115, and that's probably the way that I'm looking here. But at the same time, the girl she's fighting seems relatively legit, so I'm not sure I want to do that. I'm being very, very careful in the PFL because it seems like every time I really go for it in the PFL, I get my ass kicked. So yeah, I think maybe we fade Kevin Lee by sub and then we find a way to put our money on our absolute GOAT in the women's MMA division. Oh yeah, so some money came in on Kevin Lee. He's down to 8-1. That's what's up. Mitch saying this is the most difficult card to bet on of the year, honestly, especially that Fiziev and Ignacio fight. We will talk about that. All right, everybody. Next fight up, Zhelezniakova takes on Claudia Sygula. For those of you who do not know, this is a rematch, ladies and gentlemen. Daira looked really good on the scales today. I'll be honest with you. Good shape, showing off her abs. Like she looks like she's prepped and ready for this one. Melissa Mullins, 136 pounds. She's missed weight in her last couple of fights, and I talked about that. I talked about her being a size bully. I talked about, being worried about her on the scales this weekend. I wanted to see them weigh in and face off before I made any kind of a move on this fight, because if Mullins is not able to get her body under control, if she misses weight badly, if she's sucked out awful, if she misses for a third time, like all these things would make me think that maybe Daira Zhelezniakova had some kind of a shot in this fight. But what happened instead is Melissa Mullins came in on point with a huge flex and a big smile on her face, and then she looked good at the face-offs as well. So it is Mullins or pass, ladies and gentlemen. This is a spot where I'm like, give me a reason to buy that Daira might be able to pull this off going the other way. And I think all we've come to is that Melissa is more prepared than ever coming into this fight. And the last time she got Daira on the mat, she whooped her ass. So this is striker versus grappler. Daira has a big advantage on the feet. If Mullins gets this to the ground, we've seen not once, but twice, anytime Daira gets on the ground, she just doesn't have an answer. And so if Melissa Mullins is able to hit a couple of takedowns, she'll pound her out yet again. Melissa Mullins is minus 250. The under 2.5 is minus 300. I think we take another women's MMA violent shot here, you guys. I really do. I think we take another violent shot here with the ladies, because Daira's going to have to go for broke on the feet. She's going to have to nuke this girl, and early, if she wants any shot of winning this fight. Mullins is going to do the same thing she does in every single fight, and that's get the fight to the ground as quickly as possible and start pounding. So if she does that, we've seen Daira doesn't know what she's doing on the ground. She's training at the same gym that brought you Cyril Gane, who got absolutely rinsed on the mat by freaking Francis Ngannou back in the day. She's only been training there for a couple of months. Her ground game is not going to be ready. She's going to look the exact same this fight as she did the last time she fought Melissa Mullins. So, I mean, it's Mullins round 2, round 3, Mullins TKO, ground and pound, Mullins inside the distance, however you want to play that. But I think we take the under, because if Daira comes out here and she does her best One Punch Man impression and just if she gets her early in round 1, something like that, the round 1 KO is there for Daira. It's on the table. It's possible. So I think we go violence. Yeah, Dixon says Mullins 2-3 system plan. I think that makes sense as well. But again, I'm not going to get greedy looking for that big number. I'll just take the under at somewhere near even money, and hopefully we'll go ahead and do that. No, Mitch, not minus 300, minus 130. Minus 130. Mullins is minus 250. If I spoke incorrectly, if I did say that, I apologize, because the under 2.5 is minus 130. All right. Keeping it moving at a nice steady pace here, ladies and gentlemen. Ismail Naurdiev takes on Jung Young Park. I like this fight. I like Park in this fight. 186 pounds for both men. Ismail Naurdiev looked a bit rough, I will be honest with you guys. Face sunken in a little bit. I mean, not so much that we need to break the tinfoil hat out if I had it available. But it's one of those things where he didn't look like it was the cleanest weight cut of all time. Jung Young Park, all smiles. Dude's throwing up the peace sign with big old cheesy grin on his face. I love this man. Protect the Iron Turtle at all costs. These guys size up really well, and frankly, it looks to me like Jung Young Park has a bit of a size advantage here in this fight. Now, we talked about the backs earlier when we were talking about the big boys. Naurdiev is a little bit thicker. Naurdiev is a little bit thicker than Jung Young Park, but I still like Jung Young Park here, you guys. I have not bought this resurgence of Ismail Naurdiev. I'm not buying it, okay? He was mid the first time he made it to the UFC. He goes out to the regional scene, and he has like a 500 regional record. Frankly, unless they're just padding out cards, like I'm not sure why they brought him back. He beat the corpse of Bruno Silva by holding him up against the fence. I mean, literally, like for a 15-minute fight, that's all he did was push Bruno up against the cage and got a decision win in his UFC debut. He's undersized at 185 pounds. I mean, that shows you everything if Park is larger than him, because Park is usually one of the smaller guys in the weight class. I like the hands of Jung Young Park. I like the pressure of Jung Young Park. Minus 185, like it's probably a little bit more than I want to lay, but I do really think Jung Young Park is probably the side here in this fight. And I wouldn't even mind like a little shot on the submission prop, just because he loves taking the back. He's so good with that rear naked choke. And we could see Ismail Naurdiev, his game plan is always come forward, cage push, wrestle. So like if he keeps doing that, we're going to end up in grappling transitions, and we know Park loves to take advantage of those grappling transitions. And yes, Salter, Bruno Silva is not a proper test anymore. Not even close. The dude doesn't count as UFC level anymore, in my opinion. So yeah, we're not going to count him as a proper test one bit. Let's keep it going here. Next up, you have got Sung Young Ko taking on Oban Elliott. And this should be another fun fight, in my opinion. Elliott made 170.5 pounds. Sung Young Ko came in at 169.5. Both guys look good. Both guys gave a solid flex. Frankly, I was impressed by the physicality of Sung Young Ko. He looked like he was solid, but when they face off, you can see there's a half-decent size advantage here for Elliott. And man, this is going to be a greasy fight. I think I need to kind of sit on my hands here and stay away from it a little bit, because I talked about this fight on the Monday show. If you guys want the full-on breakdown with all the technical jibber jab and stuff like that, I like Elliott, and I like his ability to offensively wrestle and grapple. However, my co-host, Dravi, if you guys haven't checked out Dravi, make sure you do, please. He talked some sense into me on this fight about how Ko looked in his Dana White's Contender Series fight, and how he was able to counter grapple, how he was able to time the striking. Like, it was far more competitive than I think a lot of us were remembering it being. So you go back and you watch it, and he's not wrong. I do think that Ko is probably going to lose this fight. I think Elliott by decision makes a ton of sense, but we've seen Elliott hurt. We've seen him cracked, and he's another one of these guys that, even though he's got a couple of wins in the UFC, he's fought relatively nobody. And I'm worried that he might be a little more fragile than we're suspecting. So both guys 11-2, matching experience. Elliott does have the slightly better level of competition, but it's close, you know? So with a minus 500 next to him, you really got to believe that he's absolutely going to mess this guy up. And he is, Ko is the lone Korean, I believe, on the card here. And we know the Koreans can absolutely turn out a prospect that comes out of left field every now and again. I am staying away. Yeah, Saltern saying Ko by KO, and frankly, I don't hate it. I do think there's some explosive, clinching and distance closing upside here. That's absolutely something that is on the table. If you want a long shot, if you want to sprinkle, Ko by KO is something that is totally reasonable and could happen. I wouldn't be shocked by it. It's with these big underdogs, it's like my jaw would hit the floor if they pulled this win off. Not this one. This is one where on second thought, I thought that I was going to be heavy on Elliott, but at minus 455, I don't think I want that much of Elliott. I think Elliott by decision is probably the way this fight goes. We'll see. I gotta kind of check the hype on Elliott and see him get through one or two more people before we get all the way in. Let's see here. Yeah, Cade saying Clint being on Faves 4 of 5 fights wasn't on my bingo card. I like this approach. Hey, I'm learning. It only took me 6 years, but I'm learning. I got a couple dogs for you, though. Don't you worry. I got the biggest dog on the board, shocking absolutely nobody, right? So that tells you anything. The next fight up, you guys, is Muhammad Naimov and Bogdan Grad. 146 pounds for both guys. Naimov, absolutely full rug chest, intense on the scales today, relaxed. You love to see it. Bogdan Grad is jacked, you guys. Look at this. I got to switch tabs here. You got to see this. Look at this monster. Would you? Holy shit! That is not just lighting, ladies and gentlemen. The veins ripping off that guy. Michael Chandler would be jealous of Bogdan Grad in this shot. It is absolutely ridiculous how jacked this guy is. However, it's a little bit of little dog syndrome, right? He's about a half head shorter here in this spot. And I got to tell you, going up against a guy like Naimov, I wouldn't want to be a half head shorter. Going up against Naimov, I would not want to be a half head shorter. He's a brick wall, and these guys both go in there power for power. The biggest difference for me is the meat and potatoes approach of Muhammad Naimov really is the difference maker. Bogdan Grad gets in there and gets real loopy. He throws spinning heel kicks. He does weird spinning shit. You watch every single one of his fights, and it's not even the desperation spinning heel kick when you're gassed out and you're trying to hit that Hail Mary to win you the fight at the very end. It's not that. He does it every single fight, 4 or 5 times. I don't think Bogdan Grad is on the level of Muhammad Naimov. I don't think this guy's very good. Yes, I think he can go in there and he can break a couple people with his physicality and with his steroid pack. He's like Bane, right? He can just hit the button and get more steroids whenever he wants them. that he seems to be that kind of guy for me. But I don't think that's going to work against Muhammad Naimov. So I like Naimov. And yeah, Dick's Insider saying Naimov by hat aura. Somebody, I missed you earlier. Somebody in the comment section said, don't forget the hat angle here. And there's a ton of hat equity on this card. And Naimov is one of the guys that will be enjoying the hat advantage here. He's a minus 285 favorite. And frankly, I think this is an extremely violent fight. Naimov by KO at plus 225 doesn't sound bad to me. I'm kind of surprised that you're getting that kind of a number on it, because what else do they think is really going to happen here? Like, Bogdan Grad could maybe drag his carcass to a decision, but I kind of feel like Naimov kills him. It's a 1.5 total with the over being minus 245. Kind of weird that they're not giving you a 2.5 in that kind of a circumstance. Let me see what fight doesn't go the distance at minus 130. Doesn't seem so bad to me. I could see that fight ending in an absolute car wreck in multiple different ways. So I like violence in that fight. I like Naimov. I'm not a Grad guy, personally. Yeah, Sami saying that bro never misses his vitamins. He's still taking his Flintstones every single day. Mom would be proud. Next up, you guys, you got Nicholas Motta and Nazim Sadykhov. 155.5 for Motta, 155 on the dot for Nazim. Nicholas Motta, you guys, you got to go find the video or find the Instagram posts or whatever. He has some more muscle on his frame. I got to tell you, I'm actually impressed with Nicholas Motta. He is... You know how we see young, soft body, essentially boys that are not quite men yet getting to the UFC. And then over the course of the first 2 years of their UFC careers, then they really start filling out, right? They start muscling up, their bodies completely transition. They transform into the monsters that we see them a couple years later in the UFC. Well, it seems like Motta is going through that process. I was not thinking Motta was going to have extended success in the UFC. And frankly, he's a soft body. He's a Kelvin Gastelum type. So he's always been a little bit wider and a little bit thicker, have a little extra around the midsection. So I didn't expect to see him with abs. But he had abs on the scales today. Motta's diet, conditioning, and supplement plan has taken a bit of a step up in the right direction, if you will, here. So I'm very impressed and very interested, because this guy's got long looping arms. He's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage in this spot, and he's already got just God-given explosive KO power. If he puts muscle and science behind that power, Nicholas Motta could maybe be something that I'm counting him out. We saw what Vitor Belfort did when he got all juiced up, right? Maybe Motta's that kind of a prospect where if he can develop a couple of skills to go with the science, he might be more than we're expecting. Nazim Sadykhov came in rocking the sunglasses. Dude is bulky. He's got huge shoulders, gave a massive flex, big arms. These two size up pretty well, like you guys saw in the photo. Nazim obviously does have a slight size advantage, but it's not significant, right? Nicholas Motta is not undersized here. Nazim's about an inch taller. Motta's going to have the 1-inch reach advantage, so it's pretty even if you ask me. I liked Nazim by KO. I was talking about that earlier in the week. However, I will tell you guys, one of the things I've been kind of tracking just mentally, not tracking with hard evidence, but tracking mentally, is some of these lines on the props that get moved on DraftKings specifically. DraftKings specifically, they love suckers over on DraftKings, which is why that's primarily where my action is right now. Nazim Sadykhov by KO was minus 105 earlier in the week. It's plus 110 now. And so when it goes, hey, this is the obvious, this is absolutely what's happening spot, and they're not making you pay for it. In fact, they're changing that number to give you a better number later on. That has not been hitting. And again, I don't have hard documented evidence to track these, but I've just noticed when I glance at the props earlier in the week and I'm like, hey, this one, and then it gets to fight day, if they've offered you better numbers on those props, they usually are not coming through. So going from minus 105 to plus 110 doesn't sound like a big move or anything like that, but on DraftKings specifically, them giving you that extra edge on what is probably the most popular prop on the board, start questioning. Just be aware, okay? You guys need to start watching this trend with me and see if there's anything to it, because I don't want anybody falling into traps, and we can save each other from costing ourselves some money here. So with the physical transformation of Nicholas Motta, with the line move on the Nazim Sadykhov KO prop, you guys, if I had my tinfoil hat, it would be square and tight on my head right now. I don't think I want to be involved on either of those. So this is going to end up being a pass for me. I lean Nazim Sadykhov in this fight. I kind of like Nazim Sadykhov by KO, but because of those things, I'm going to stay away from that. The decision is plus 275 if you think, Motta's improved to the point that he doesn't go out on his shield and he can make it the full 15 minutes. The over 1.5 is minus 135. And frankly, that might be the move, because if Motta's in this fight, if Motta's leveled up, both physically and skill-wise, it's probably not the first-round car crash that we're used to, and this over 1.5 could end up looking like a hindsight favorite, right? Well, I mean, it is favorite, minus 135, but you know what I'm saying? It could look like a hindsight the nuts. It could easily get up and over 1.5, and that's mostly because of Nazim Sadykhov's durability. And if Motta never presents that KO shot like we're used to seeing, Nazim can't land the big bomb. It's probably going the distance, right? It's probably going to decision. Or Nick Motta has the kind of power that we know can absolutely end somebody's night. Nazim decision doesn't sound bad to me. And yeah, the sub is live. He got subbed by Ogden. Now, he wasn't out. He was threatening, right? He was in danger of a submission. But does Nazim even have a submission game? That's kind of my big question to that, because we've seen him grapple a couple times. I know he can wrestle. He knows how to bully people, but I don't even know if he's savvy enough with the subs. He's got 2 submissions on his record. He got a rear. Oh yeah, he choked out Terrence McKinney in the second round. So I guess the 2-3 sub is something. He's got 2 rear naked chokes on his record, so that is something that he potentially could look for here. And I do actually think the wrestling is something that he will use in this fight. So I'm kind of looking at the over 1.5 here, guys. I might buck the trend here and go with that over 1.5 now that we've talked about it. And that's the whole point of this show. That's what we do on this show, is we take all the little pieces of the puzzle and end up putting it all together and finding something that we like. And I think I'm shifting from the Nazim KO to the Nazim over 1.5. Garrison saying there's got to be some aluminum laying around at that beach house, Clint. There's nothing here. There's my father-in-law's wheelchair. I could sit in that for you if you really wanted me to. We've got plenty of alcohol right over here on the shelf. Not a tinfoil cap, but I mean, if you want, like, twist my arm, why don't you? All right, guys, let's move it along. Next up, we have got my guy, Mikbek Oralbay, coming back, and he's taking on Tofik Musaev, UFC newcomer here. This one is where it gets interesting. I really do need the tinfoil hat. We got to switch here. This fight got moved, you guys. So it's a 155 fight. This is a lightweight fight. However, we're doing a 165 catch weight. And somebody was asking me on Twitter, what happened here? Somebody was trying to figure out, if I knew anything about what happened here. And I just want to... MS535. Shout out MS535. I don't know what happened here. He was asking me who called for the catch weight. My suspicion, you guys, as to who called the catch weight here is I think Oralbay asked for the 165 catch weight because Tofik came in at 163 pounds. So if you're asking for a catch weight, it's usually because you have stopped cutting, your body can't handle cutting, all those kinds of things. You likely are not coming in 2 pounds light if you don't feel you can make the weight. Oralbay came in at 165 on the dot. So my suspicion is that Oralbay and his team are the ones who moved for the catch weight because he looked fresh. He looked great on the scales. Healthy, no problems, not overly sucked out, and he is a big dude at 155 pounds. Tofik, very cut up, shredded, threw that number 1 up. He was looking intense on the face. He's going to be a hometown guy here for this fight. And frankly, you guys, I really lean towards Oralbay with this catchweight situation. As you can see here in the photo, he's got a much larger frame. Even just like look at the shoulder levels. Look at the shoulder levels here. He's just the more physical looking person, whereas Tofik, yeah, he's got that thick old neck on him, but he's very lithe. He's like a whippet out there. Like he wants to move quick and crack. You know what I mean? But Oralbay is a very good striker. He's a very good grappler. He's big, he's strong, and I thought he was going to have massive success at 155 pounds just because of how physical he is. He made his UFC debut at 170 pounds. He fought most of his career at 170 pounds. And so I kind of think that him coming down at 155 is going to be a big deal. Tofik is a guy who's fought at 155 for the majority of his career. So if Oralbay is getting an extra 10 pounds, I think that favors him. I think that favors him big time. He'll be better as far as his gas is concerned. He'll be stronger. He'll be more physical in there. So I kind of think Oralbay gets a little bit of a bump up here in my book because of this weight situation. You've got minus 155 on Oralbay, plus 130 on Tofik. I know a couple of people who have taken the stab on Tofik, and I kind of get it. I get the speed. I get the left hook is there. That's something that Oralbay got eaten up by with Mateusz Rebecki in his last fight. But going back and watching some of the tape on Tofik, I mean, first off, this guy's old. He's got 27 professional fights. He's 35 years old. You go back to like his fight against Patricky Pitbull, and Pitbull was messing him up in the first round. This guy literally shoves him out of the cage, and it jacks up Pitbull's shoulder, and then he comes back to win the fight. He got finished by sub in a fight over in Rizin. He got finished in round 3 by Alexander Shabliy of all people, which, I mean, Shabli's not a bad fighter or anything like that, but it seems like if you can get this guy grappling and get him on the ground deeper in the fight, he does tire out. He does tend to break. And even someone who's small like Pitbull was able to get him on his back in round 1 and really kind of put it on him. So I like Oralbay to bounce back in this spot, you guys. Tofik is flashy, and he's got good footwork, and he's got solid power, but I don't know. I'm not ready to buy at 35 years old that he's going to make waves in the UFC. You know what I mean? I have not bet this one, though. And yes, Oralbay's hat, absolutely my kind of guy. Man, I am very tempted to bet on Oralbay, but I said this on Monday, and I'm sticking to it. I think Oralbay live bet is the way you go. I think Oralbay live is the way that you go. Because if he loses that first round, it's going to be brutal. You're right. You're going to see him hurt. You're going to see him busted up. You're going to see if the speed is a problem for him. Bypass all that. If he survives that first round, you can see him kind of get the game going, or you can expect him to get the game going in round 2. Get a better number on it. Get even money. Get maybe plus money, and fire on him going into round 2. If he's getting busted up badly and it looks like he's about to lose the fight, close to getting stopped, or God forbid, if it's a round 1 KO, like, you just dodged that whole bullet in round 1. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to watch. I think round 1 could be tough sledding. And Dixon, thank you for the reminder, my friend, but I'm already trusting my balls on Azat Maksum this week, and a fight a little bit later on that we're going to talk about here. So I don't need to trust my balls here on this spot. I think I'm going to be technical on this spot. And if we can get a better number live, then I'll take it. If I like what I see live, then I'll take it. If not, we'll let it go. D, what's up, buddy? Appreciate you being here. Let's freaking go. All right, guys, we've got the last couple of fights here to talk about for you, and I got to wrap it up because I think everybody else is coming back from the boat. So I need to not take too long here with these last couple of breakdowns. But do me a favor, get subscribed if you haven't. Please hit that like button, and let's get this thing going here. Next up, big boys. You've got Rizvan Kuniev taking on Curtis Blaydes. 256 for Curtis Blaydes, 264.5 for Kuniev. Kuniev absolutely tipping the top of the scales here at 265. Blaydes, blank face, no problem. He doesn't even bother to flex. He just kind of sticks his arms up in the air. You guys know that. It's kind of hilarious, actually, because he literally doesn't flex. He just does this. He just raises his arms for the photos. Rizvan Kuniev, dude's an absolute unit. I mean, it doesn't look like there's any problems with him on the scale today, but that is a big, big boy. Like, they are definitely trying to get Kuniev going here in the UFC, which is crazy, crazy. Look at the thickness difference, right? Blaydes is our grappler. Blaydes is our heavyweight wrestler. And look at this, man. Look at this absolute tub of protein powder right here. He's twice as wide as Curtis Blaydes is, and they both have grappling game plans. I think Curtis Blaydes has better boxing, but Kuniev has got some stinging power of his own. Kuniev is a grinder grappler type, and we've seen Curtis Blaydes. I think he's got a 55% takedown defense rating, so he is usually the one pushing the takedowns, but when people do take him down or attempt to take him down, he's not always on point with the takedown defense as opposed to the takedown offense, and we know Kuniev is an abuser. This guy popped for 5 different anabolic steroids before he got to the UFC, and they went ahead and signed him anyway. Like, he's training with Ankalaev. Like, they like Kuniev for God knows what reason. They like Kuniev. So I think you've got to take a shot or a sprinkle, throw it in a crazy ass long parlay or something. Curtis Blaydes or Kuniev by KO at plus 500. Speaking of our little tinfoil hat theory about DraftKings, that was plus 550 earlier in the week. It's plus 500 now. So just something to think about, because Blaydes has been knocked out by a bunch of these big, heavy boys here at heavyweight. I think Kuniev by decision at plus 550 is live as well. Kuniev plus 3.5, I think, makes a ton of sense. Blaydes' boxing is very, very good, but I think we're going to spend a lot of time clinching in this fight, and I just think that Kuniev has way more juice running through his veins than Curtis Blaydes does. So I didn't get there with a bet, you guys. I did pick Curtis Blaydes to win this fight, but I am really kind of interested in getting in on the Kuniev side somehow, some way this week. I don't know what I'm going to do with it exactly, but I'm very tempted there. Next fight up, Rafael Fiziev and Ignacio Bahamondes. This one is tricky as hell to me and feels trappy. 155.5 for both guys. Ignacio Bahamondes, tall and skinny as usual. He's got a 12-pack abs situation going on there. He's in shape. He's ready to go. Training with my boy Bilal. Rafael Fiziev, though, looked physically rejuvenated, looked fresh, looked muscled. He looks fantastic on the scales today. Both guys were excited. It's one of those ones where it looks like they're talking shit, but both of them are like smiling and just ready to punch each other in the face. This is going to be a good fight. This is going to be a fun fight. I can't wait for this one. And it's a decent line here is kind of the other thing. I know a lot of people that are jumping in here on Ignacio Bahamondes. He did open up the slight underdog, and he is now flipped to being the slight favorite. And you guys know me. I have such a hard time with this. The world is ready to cook on Ignacio Bahamondes. And I've been riding the Ignacio Bahamondes train. You guys know me. He's on my freaking intro video for the main podcast. I love Ignacio Bahamondes. This is the one that gives me pause. With the kind of, first round domination win streak he's on. Why he opened up the underdog makes no sense to me. He's minus 150 now. And Rafael Fiziev is a better version of the guys who have beaten him. So Luke Dovit-Klein and John McDessie are the two losses that Ignacio Bahamondes has in the UFC. And Fiziev would whoop the ass of either of those guys. He's got that same short, stocky style. He's going to be able to close the distance and get in close and crash the pocket. And that's something that Ignacio Bahamondes seems to have a bit of a hard time with. So unless Bahamondes is able to pull one of these crazy, wild spinning attack KOs out of his back pocket, I don't think he's going to win this fight over a 15-minute battle. Rafael Fiziev showed in his last couple fights, especially against a guy like Justin Gaethje, that he is as game and as willing to bang as humanly possible getting out there, and that's been a problem for Ignacio Bahamondes. Bahamondes is very, very front-loaded as far as his finishes go, right? Of his last 6 wins, he's only got 1 decision, and that was the Trey Ogden fight, and Trey decided, I'm not getting finished. Trey said, I'm not getting highlight reel tonight. I remember because I took Ignacio Bahamondes inside the distance in a big way that fight, and I was so pissed off because Ogden was essentially running the entire fight, trying not to get highlight reel KO'd. He just decided he was going to lose the fight and accepted his decision L instead of taking brain damage, which from a human perspective, I can appreciate. I can absolutely understand not wanting to take unnecessary damage, but I was very upset that night not being able to cash my Ignacio Bahamondes finish inside the distance ticket. So 3 round 1 finishes in a row, and you still get underdog pricing on Ignacio Bahamondes. And the last 3 fights that Fiziev has lost, not a single one of them has been a legit inside the distance. It was an injury to Mateus Gamrot. It wasn't actually like a knockout or anything. So this guy is still as durable as it gets. Guys, I can't go against my guy Ignacio Bahamondes, but I also cannot lay this number on Ignacio Bahamondes because I really feel like this is a step too soon. I feel like this might be a step too much. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to pass. I will say, oh my God. See, this is where it gets hard, right? This is where it gets hard because my heart, I'm a fan. I want Ignacio Bahamondes to win this fight. So I want to say I think Ignacio Bahamondes is going to win this fight. But frankly, I actually think Fiziev is going to win this fight. I think the over is probably a good play. I think this fight goes the distance because I don't think Ignacio is going to get the finish over him. And frankly, I think the best sneaky line here is Fiziev by decision at plus 275. That's the way I'm looking as far as a bet is concerned. And I hate that because I really want to be able to tell you guys I love my boy Ignacio Bahamondes here. And I know a lot of people are betting Ignacio Bahamondes here and just saying ship it on that side of things. But I would rather play the over, fight goes the distance at like minus 160, rather than playing a money line side when I think that it's very, very live that this fight goes to a split decision, and it's very, very live that Rafael Fiziev does to Ignacio what several of his last couple of opponents have been able to do, and do it at a far higher level, right? So if he can't get the finish, Fiziev is going to make this a very, very difficult night for him, and that's kind of how I see that fight playing out. All right, everybody, we've got about 350 of you in here live. Please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Once the stream is over, jump down in there and let me know what your favorite bets for this week are. We're going to talk about the main event, and then we'll get you out of here. Main event time. We've got Jamal Hill, and he's taking on Khalil Roundtree. Jamal Hill 206, Khalil Roundtree 206 as well. There's no title on the line, so we did not need to cut that extra pound. Jamal Hill has that very, very awkward and odd body type. We know this, but frankly, he looks in much, much better shape this week coming into this fight compared to his last couple. We know the knee has been a lingering issue, and you've been able to see that in his body. You've been able to see that in his weigh-ins and his face-offs, that he is just not the same guy. His last couple fights coming off that injury, he looks much sharper coming into this one. And I know it's small details, again, because he's just got a bit of a weird body type, and people are used to looking at guys like Khalil Roundtree, but no, seriously, he looks better. Khalil, on the other hand, is jacked. Oh my God, look at this guy. But the size advantage does go to Jamal, as you guys can see here. Khalil trying to steal some of that hat equity. It's a thing on this card, and he's trying to get in on the trend here. You guys need to put your shoes on here real quick because I'm about to blow your socks off. I'm betting on Jamal Hill, right? Like I'm betting on Jamal Hill. I've already got the bet locked in. I got plus 100 even money, and shout out to my guy Pepe, who was trying to talk me into making that bet much earlier in the week when he was like plus 130 or plus 125. I had to just kind of settle with it and come to terms on everything because I've lost so much money on Jamal Hill, you guys. Public enemy number one is Alex Pereira, but most of the bets have been on Jamal that I've lost, and so I've got massive PTSD from trying to win money on this guy, and I had to make sure that's really what I wanted to do before I could go again. And I had to. I got to go again. So the big thing with this one is I don't really believe in Khalil Roundtree. Here, I got my PTSD image up here for you guys. There you go. That's I think there's a massive levels gap here. And this is where you've got to treat it like stock markets, right? Buy low, sell high. I have to buy low on Jamal Hill here. I absolutely have to, because if I'm buying on Jamal Hill at the worst prices against the top fighters in the weight class, against the all-time GOAT of the division at this point, I can't then miss the opportunity to get plus money on him against somebody who I think is nowhere near the contender circle. So yes, he lost Alex Pereira and Yuri Prohaska in his last fights. Top two guys in the weight class right now. Much more skill than anybody else in the division right now. Khalil Roundtree is a guy who I feel has always been a journeyman fighter, okay? His best wins in the weight class, Modestas Bukauskas, the Dustin Jacoby decision people are going to point to, I think that was a robbery. I never thought that should have gone his way. He knocked out Chris Daukaus, who has no chin and is not in the UFC anymore. He got to retire Anthony Smith, essentially. Like, this guy does not have good, solid, credible wins. And before that, he was getting bullied and broken by Marcin Prachnio and Ion Cutelaba. I love Khalil Roundtree as a person. I love his story. I like what he does. I like his attitude. You know what I mean? I'm a fan of Khalil Roundtree, but I've never believed that he's a contender. And I actually think he's too small at 205. And that, Billy, that is a fair question. What's Hill's best win? Glover. Yes. But frankly, Glover has been an incredible fighter and a championship caliber fighter and a multi-time title challenger. He was the boogeyman of this weight class. He went on a 6-fight win streak after he got his title shot opportunity. Like, there's no knocking Glover. I mean, people want to say like his best win is Old Man Glover, but that's a really good fucking win. And punching out, Johnny Walker at the end of the day, that's a decent win. I know Johnny Walker has like questionable durability, right? But getting him out of there, I'm not so sure Khalil Roundtree is beating Johnny Walker, right? In fact, I think we have a highlight reel KO where Johnny Walker knocked the hell out of Khalil Roundtree in 2018. Yeah, that's the one where he like clinched him up and elbowed him to the head. So common opponent there. We got Jamal Hill getting the win in that spot. I know MMA math doesn't ever work, but yeah, man. And that's Billy. You said the Jacoby win aged well, but that was a robbery, dude. That was a robbery. That wasn't a good win because he didn't win that fight. Like that was a rogue judge being on the wrong side of history. So I don't count that as a good win whatsoever. My guy Dream coming in the house in time for the main event. What's up, Dream? Good to see you, buddy. Is it down to +4? Let me look at this. So guys, I put out Jamal Hill money line at +100, and my hot take for this one is that this is going to be an overs fight, and I got Jamal Hill by decision at +550. Okay, DraftKings has +500. Dream is seeing +450, and that's my hot take on this one, you guys. That's my hot take on this one. Obviously, Jamal Hill could knock this guy out deeper in the fight. It's a 5-round championship style fight. We've seen Jamal Hill build up as we get towards the end of these fights, but I think he takes a more cautious approach. I think he makes sure to get the win. I think he banks a couple of rounds in a close fight. And I think we actually get a decision. I think we actually get an over in this spot. And Billy, I don't think that's fair, man. Saying he's washed just because he lost to the literal number 1 and number 2 fighters in this weight class. Like, I don't think that's fair to say he's washed. He got caught by Alex Pereira in what still is a very weird fight. And then he got yuried by Yuri. Like, what? I mean, that doesn't mean you're washed, in my opinion. Both those guys dominate Khalil Roundtree as well. And that's where I feel like the wrong guy was favored earlier in the week. I really feel like Jamal Hill should be at least a minus 165 favorite in this spot. At minimum, I think he could be a larger favorite, if not for like the health and the injuries and the knee and all that kind of stuff. So at even money, had to do it. So yeah, I'm on 2 dogs this week so far, you guys. I've got Jamal Hill, and then I've got the big dog in Azat Maksum. I really think that fight should be a whole hell of a lot closer. If he keeps his neck safe, he's winning that fight. That's all that fight comes down to me. I believe Azat Maksum is the more skilled and talented fighter. The grappling really is the concern there. Obviously, Tagir could go ahead and snatch up a neck or a sub or something like that. But if he doesn't get the neck, I think Azat's going to win the fight. I like Hamdi Abdel Wahab. I know what everybody's saying. I know Usman is the favorite underdog this week of the entire betting community, but I think it's Hamdi's fight to lose. I think we take an under in both WMMA fights, or fight doesn't go the distance in both WMMA fights. Worst case scenario, I think you end up going 1-1 there, but I really think you're going to win those. I like Jung Young Park. I do like Oban Elliott, but there's a little bit of caution. Dravi put the fear of God into me there on that one. And I do like Muhammad Naimov. I do like Nazim Sadykhov, but I more like that over 1.5 after talking about it here on the show with you guys. I like Oralbay, but I like a live bet on Oralbay. We'll kind of have to watch and see how that one goes. The catch weight makes things a little bit weird, but I actually think edge Oralbay on the catch weight. And then I'm actually tempted on Rizvan Kuniev and Rafael Fiziev. Those are the two where it's like, man, this is turning into an underdog card here for me, because Rizvan Kuniev, it doesn't make any sense that they're giving him Curtis Blaydes in this spot unless they want him to beat Curtis Blaydes. And if he's able to get in there and clinch grapple with Curtis Blaydes, like, they might just rob Blaydes. Blaydes has been around forever. They're looking for new blood. He's got a connection with the champ. So, like, yeah, I think Rizvan Kuniev is probably going to end up being the side, and that just feels freaking gross, but it kind of is what it is. And especially with the UFC being not nearly as harsh on the drug situation, the fact that they're bringing in this noted steroid abuser without any issue. And guys, if you haven't noticed, they booked this fight 3 times. It fell off twice, and they've rebooked it every single time. They want this matchup. So I kind of think we got to give Rizvan Kuniev a bit of a second look there. All right. Hey, what's up, MMA Upside? Good to see you. Thanks for joining in, and thank you for going back to watch the whole show. Appreciate you. Cade saying Jamal Hill is the money line lock, and I'm with you, man. I agree. And again, I had to get the damn thing done. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Let's see, Billy. I don't think you're talking to me. Oh, okay, yeah, you're talking to Cade. All right. I was like, I didn't say anything about your feelings. All right, guys. I was going to say let's get into it, but we just got into it. That's it. That is the Undefeated Post Weigh-In Show, everybody. Hope you guys got all the info that you needed. Hope the photos and the discourse helped you guys get out there and make some good bets. Hope you guys make some money. And remember, it is a morning fight, so make sure you wake up first thing in the morning refreshed, puckered, get your caffeine, go ahead and get your waffles, get a mimosa, and let's watch some fights. Hopefully we can cash some money and we can stay on track, because I squeezed by last week with just the tiniest win you have ever seen in your entire lifetime, but it was a win nonetheless, so I will take it. But I need a real win this week. I need a big win. I need an Azat Maksum KO real win this week. Let's freaking do it. And Hunch, I'm no stranger. I've already lost all my money betting on Hill. Like, I've already, note the picture here. Like, I have already done this. But you got to do what you got to do, right? Like, I was wrong about him beating Michel Pereira, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be wrong about him beating a guy who's much, much lower than Michel Pereira. So we'll see. And yes, Billy, I will tell you, the knee, the leg kicks, that is what's really been kind of the big thing for me. I completely understand that Khalil's leg kicks could be a problem in this fight, and I hope Jamal Hill has appropriately prepared for those, because that is the number one thing that I think could absolutely be a big, big, big problem for Jamal Hill. But Fries are in the bag, ladies and gentlemen. It's already done. The bet is locked in. There's nothing I can do about it. We now just have to hope for the best. Thank you all very much for being here. Hit that like and subscribe button on your way out the door. Good luck tomorrow, and we'll see you guys Monday again for another live show breaking down next week's fights. Let's roll.